Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is the final Wednesday Dynamite before this Sunday's AEW Double or Nothing. And this was the final go home Dynamite that we're going to preview before we get to the most exciting, well, I would say second most exciting AEW pay-per-view of the year and the second most popular pro wrestling pay-per-view of the spring season, right behind WrestleMania. With that being said, let's look at what is in store for Portland, Maine's go home Dynamite before Double or Nothing this Sunday. All right. So we have all of these contests and segments that are scheduled for a 3 hour special that will take place tonight, starting at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, and we'll go all the way till 9 o'clock with Collision as well. So let's go through these things one by one. All right. As we know, this is the eighth straight World Championship match for Darby Allin in the span of, I don't know, 5 weeks. 5 weeks ago, he won the title. He's defended it 6 times, and this will be his seventh defense and his eighth World Championship match since he won it 5 weeks ago. And he's beaten guys that we know of: Tommaso Ciampa, Brody King, Kevin the Jet Knight, Pac, Pinosuke Takeshita last Saturday against freaking Sammy Guevara, and now tonight in Portland, Maine against Speedball Mike Bailey before he takes on the man who he dethroned to win the AEW Championship 5 weeks ago, and that man is Maxwell Jacob Freeman, who we will face if he wins tonight against Speedball Mike Bailey at Sunday's main event of Double or Nothing for a title versus hair match. Now, this match that this match has to go one way in order for that match to stay on the card. Darby Allin's going to do what he's been doing for the last 5 weeks, and he's just going to put on another stellar performance, another title defense, and he will walk into Double or Nothing as the AEW World Champion. And we go from that to this one has a lot of implications because Mark Briscoe and Tommaso Ciampa are both former TNT champions. Mark Briscoe lost the TNT Championship to Tommaso Ciampa in Ciampa's debut night in AEW, or debut match, I should say that, correcting. And then he loses the belt to Kyle Fletcher, and then Fletcher's out for the rest of the year. So now these gentlemen are going to settle their differences that put Mark Briscoe on the shelf for, I believe, 6 weeks, and that allowed him to tie, his alliance with the FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and reunite their friendship from back in the NXT days. So this match here, I feel like because we got the card for Double or Nothing stacked so much, we're basically having a Double or Nothing match on the go home show before it so that it doesn't overhaul the card and it forces it to, rush its match and other matches to rush. So we're getting a pay-per-view quality match tonight on Wednesday's Dynamite. And I think, if you ask me who I think is going to win this match with anything goes, I think it's probably going to be Ciampa because he has the heel persona behind him. He has heel friends that will back him up and help him in case to win in a cheap, dirty way. But for Mark Briscoe, he does have the conglomeration, but also we gotta keep previewing the rest of the show. I believe it's the second next one. Yep. So we know that 2 weeks ago on the not one but two collisions ago, we saw Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly defeat Tommaso Ciampa and FTR, and the winner of that match would get a title shot at the Losers Championships. Because the conglomeration defeated FTR and Tommaso Ciampa, tonight will be the match will determine who will walk into AEW Double or Nothing as the tag team champions who face Christian Cage and Adam Copeland in the New York City I Quit match. But this match is going to keep, I believe, the conglomeration busy. They will be recovering from the wounds because I think FTR is going to make an example out of the conglomeration 4 days before they take on Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, which has so many personal ties with Adam Copeland to FTR. And I think they're going to basically the same way that the Dogs have been embarrassing the Rascals, and vice versa, how who was a team that I saw that did this? Oh, right. It was Rocky Romero and Trent from Roppongi Vice taking on CNC a few weeks ago, and they absolutely embarrassed them. They made them tap out. They held on to the hold after the bell rung. And I believe that's exactly what's going to happen in this match tonight. And it's going to be back-to-back heel allies win against the conglomeration. And we'll potentially see that match happen in the future of Champa, Wheeler, and Harwood against the Conglomeration Trios Championships. But tonight, we will see a tag team championship match instead, and still your champions, FTR. But going back to the one I skipped so I can get to those two last things connecting, Swerve Strickland is returning before his quarterfinal Owen Hart tournament match this Sunday at Double or Nothing against the Ring of Honor World Champion, Bandito. And Swerve Strickland, we have not seen him wrestle since Dynasty, and he wasn't even at Dynasty. That's the thing. Yeah, that is Swerve Strickland's pay-per-view, and he was nowhere on the card. Now he's returning back, or returning tonight in front of a live crowd, I should say, mind you, so that we can get some context before we get this. I mean, it's not a just random match being put on a pay-per-view card. It's Swerve Strickland against the Ring of Honor World Champion. But there isn't much history other than we know Swerve has ties to Brody King back when he took him on at AEW Revolution 2 months ago. But this is one of those matches where it's like, okay, Swerve was off TV doing his own thing, doing things with the Discovery Channel with Time Warner partnership. But now that he's back at AEW, I wonder, is he going to, him and Nana, they've been very scheming, very heelish, I would say. And so maybe they have something planned backstage for Brody, and it could mean that he's going to give himself a little bit of an entourage, a bit of a crew to back him up if he's going to go full dive into this, heel like he did a few years ago. He had the Gates of Agony back him up because they were also being managed by Prince Nana. So it's I haven't completely put that as a guarantee, but you never know. So, like the last couple of matches that I just made my predictions, this isn't a match, but I see that the end of this segment will be the heel standing on top, and Brodito is going to have to get his wits back to himself before his quarterfinal match, which I'm already going to make my prediction say Swerve Strickland is advancing to the finals. So, with that being said, let's continue on to, apologies. All right. This is something I know exactly how this is going to end, and this doesn't take a rocket scientist. A blind professional wrestler could see how this is going to go. Divine Dominion introduced their 5-minute tag team championship eliminator last Saturday at Collision. Won it in 2.5 minutes. They're going to do the same thing, well, not against the same team, but basically the same finish tonight on Dynamite. And after their victory, we saw the return of two women who's been, honestly, they've been as close to day one female wrestlers in this company than anyone else I could think of other than Britt Baker and, no, not Thunder Road. She came from NWA herself. Chris Statlander. Like those girls, I would put them next to Anna Jay and Ty Mello. It's not bad. Like those are girls who still like full time. And well, now I have to be honest. Like the one of those four girls that's been the most active is Chris Statlander. And then after probably Anna Jay. But yeah, Anna Jay and Ty Mello came back last Saturday before her husband Sammy Guevara World Championship main event. And I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, that's who Divine Dominion is going to take on at Double or Nothing. So they'll have another easy squash match. They'll win it, retain their, not championships are on the line, but they'll raise their belts up to relay how dominant they are. And then after a few seconds pass, we'll see the entrance of Ty Mello and Anna Jay. And we got ourselves a 0-hour Women's World Tag Team Championship match. Now, the next thing on the show that I have is, speaking of Women's Championship match, we have, let's see, just one. That's interesting. Chris Statlander and Sheeta are in this match, and the only women that is challenging for Tekla's Women's World Championship is Jamie Hayter with her tag team partner Alex Windsor, the Brawling Birds. former AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa, and my pick to potentially go all the way and win the Women's Owen Hart tournament this year, and she has her and Mina Shirakawa, and she has her opponent that she's facing in the quarterfinals on the other side, teaming with the Triangle of Madness and the Ring of Honor Women's Champion for over 1,260 days. That is the longest championship reign I have ever experienced in my life. So that's longer than anything I've ever seen. Like that is insane. So she's streaming with Julia Hart and Sky Blue and Tekla. I almost said Ember Moon. I know. I was like, wait, why am I about to say that? Thank you, Athena. And Tekla being the Ring of, I mean, not Ring of Honor. Athena is the Ring of Honor. Tekla is the AEW Women's World Champion, and she's tagging with Athena with her stable women. That's a weird word. But I believe, how do I see this match going? Jamie Hayter is going to pin Tekla. Yeah, that someone in this match has to pin the champion before their match at Double or Nothing. If not, then this is a weird match put together. Honestly, it's kind of strange. I mean, we know we got one woman and the other woman on a team that will be involved in a four-way match for the AEW Women's Championship. Two other women who will be facing off in a singles action for the quarterfinals. And the other two, they're just heels and baby faces. So I guess this is one of those. This match probably won't go longer than 10, maybe 12 minutes. And yeah, I see Jamie Hayter pinning Tekla to get momentum heading into Double or Nothing's championship match. And now, speaking of momentum going into Double or Nothing, three men are for each team, so 6 men total who will be involved out of the 14 total in the record-breaking largest amount of competitors in a stadium stampede match that will take place this Sunday. And 3 men that are on the heel side, let's just say that. Ricochet, the Demand, Toa Liona, and Bishop Kong. The 2 members from the Don Callis family, the national champion Mark Davis and Andrade, and the allies of the Death Riders, which that is interesting. It's like the Death Riders and Don Callis family have been feuding, and the allies of the Death Riders are the Dogs, Clark Connors and David Finlay. But now they're teaming with the Don Callis family members and Ricochet and the Demand to take on Chris Jericho, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, the former national champion in Jack Perry, and the Alpha him. No, that's nothing. The best bout machine that you can possibly say. The one and only Kenny Omega. And do I see him having something to do with this match? That's why I'm saying I was like stuttering on his name. I do, but maybe he is the last one that makes their entrance after everyone else makes their run in. So I think this match, because it has no implications of who wins or loses going into it, it's going to end in a disqualification. It's going to be a large brawl, be a preview before we get what we'll see the whole version of it at Double or Nothing, but we'll see a preview of Stadium Stampede tonight after this match gets thrown out. So, yep, that's how you see it. And then this match, this is the last match I have previewing tonight. Will Ospreay's taking on one of Samoa Joe's trusted members of the Ops, probably his closest trusted member, Katsuyori Shibata, and he will be taking on the man that is going to face Samoa Joe in the quarterfinals of the Owen Hart tournament this Sunday at Double or Nothing. We've already seen a lot of improvements on Will Ospreay from his matches with Ace Austin, with his return from his match with Mark Davis, and then yeah, he's been looking better and better. His wins are looking clean, and he's adding, like I said, more submission holds to his arsenal. So we will probably see another one being used tonight against the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata, and it'll just add momentum to building up to his match with the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. It's looking like he's building this match into a submission victory over Joe, and if he does, then that's going to take him to what I believe a very emotional, like tied in finals between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, and where he'll hold Strickland to the brink of defeat, and Strickland will tap out and go into the all-in main event for the AEW World Champion, Will Ospreay. But before we get there, this Sunday, AEW Double or Nothing. We will do a preview of that this weekend since there's no UFC events. And tomorrow I will do my review of the last AEW Dynamite before Double or Nothing. Thank you all so much. Tune in tomorrow for my video. Until then, keep grinding, keep staying busy, and as always, stay humble.